So, we all saw vampires absolutely dominate PMWI, defending their 2022 title by nearly 100 points. The team, and particularly Tony K, have become the subject of much discussion and speculation, with people particularly wanting to know just how they're able to be such a dominant force. You clicked on this video, so you're one of those people, and good thing too, because I'm here to answer all of your questions, and keep watching to the end because I'm going to show you just how to play like them, and how you can defeat a team like them in your own games. Let's dive in. The first impression we get from studying VPE is that they're quiet. By playing center, we generally don't see much of them until phase 5 or so in the game. This makes it easy to decide that they're passive campers. But not only is this wrong, this mindset is also dangerous because it severely underestimates them. To get a better picture, we need to dive deeper into who this team is. I rewatched PMWI days 2 and 3 and made my focus everything vampires. I watched everything, and in doing so, I discovered 4 key components that ultimately lead to the team's success. Zone prediction. Vampires take the zone very seriously, and they've gotten very good at predicting where it's going. They predict the new zone, take a compound in it, and hold. The compound is very important for them. If there's one in the center of the predicted zone, they'll take it and stay there, even if right now it's in a mid-circle position. This helps them in the next key component we're going to talk about, which is third-partying. They've gotten so good at predicting zone that more often than not in PMWI, we saw them slap bang in the middle of the new circle. This means that now there's a lot of traffic all moving towards them and their inevitable compound. As we've discussed in the previous videos, third-partying is both an advancement and a survival strategy. By doing this, you not only take kills with minimum resources, you also prevent teams from coming near you and ultimately push them into each other. Vampire's CQC and individual skill is such that they're confident to handle most of the pushes that come their way with ease. However, they would be less confident if they didn't utilize component 3, which is hardcover. Unlike the gladiators who use open spaces to win their games, vampires crave hardcover to freely move around in. This comes in the form of compounds, large rocks, hills, dips, and ridges, whatever they can use to move around without being tied down to one position. This also narrows down the amount of angles enemies have on them, which allows them to focus on a few specific directions. The final, but arguably one of the most important components, is timing. Vampires have strategized their timing into every aspect of their gameplay. For instance, they don't start making their endgame plays until phase 4, don't start their third parties until around phase 5, and don't make any big pushes or plays until the very end of the game with 3 or 4 teams left alive. When they do make those plays, it's instant. There's no hesitation, no time wasted when the call is made. Instead, the cars move out and the players take their position, often as the final 2 teams are distracted with each other. So what does this mean for you? How can you take this information and use it for yourself? Let me show you 2 things, how you can use it and how you can play against it. Using the strategy is fairly straightforward. Often we consider teams who don't use compounds, so it was high time we covered something our hardcover viewers can put into practice. For those who don't panic in high-pressure situations, holding compounds is not hard. The difficulty is in not taking every fight, and in always knowing your angles. In a center zone third-party situation, you have many opportunities for kills, but you can't take all of them. You shouldn't even take many of them. You need to be strategic in your fire, so you create holes where you want them, put teams in bad positions, and forward your agenda. To hold and control center circle, you need to be very aware of the angles teams have on you. With vampires here, they were in a terrible position, but they were aware of the angles and avoided being taken out for a long time. Fighting a team like this is a little trickier. As we've seen for 2 years now, the other world-class teams haven't managed to do it with any real consistency. But the biggest opportunity for success against such a team is right before they've set up. If you can knock out that foundation, chances are they won't have anywhere to stand. But how do you do this? You've got to predict zone first, and get into a similar area of the zone first. If you know where they most likely are, predicting zone and putting yourself in their rotation path early might help you eliminate them. The same could happen if you place yourself in the same or a nearby compound. If your team doesn't like buildings, then a ridge or hilltop with a good view of their compound will do just fine. A team like vampires know exactly what angles to avoid, but if you know every angle you have on them and how to use it, they won't be able to avoid those sightlines forever. By playing aggressively in your rotations, you can net in a team with little damage on you or your resources. Using angles and high ground to pin a team in makes it much easier for 2 to push in when the knocks are found. If you're interested in the vampires as a team and how they work, I encourage you to take some time and really study their way of playing. I have no doubt that we are just seeing the rise of the team, so we should give them the time they deserve. Let me know what you think of them and what you would take away from this video. See you in the comment section.